Start my presentation, I want to ask you guys a simple question. Did anyone here have seen this before? Can anyone who has seen this before please raise your hand, please? Okay, the guy in the front. What is this for?
It's for the umbrellas.
And why do you use it?
So that the water doesn't drip on the floor.
Okay. One key idea is shown in your answer, convenient. You don't use these plastic covers to intentionally harm the environment, but you just use them because you're used to them. It's convenient, right? You can just put your umbrella in it, and then that's it. And when you look closely to the people who are going into the buildings, they are all using the plastic covers. And why would you do anything different with them? It doesn't seem to affect the environment that much. And even when you use it, it doesn't seem to affect the environment a lot. However, reality is actually quite different than what people expect. This one tiny little plastic cover accrues to 100 million covers or 15 tons of plastic in Korea every year. And it takes more than 500 years for this plastic cover to decompose. We can't get away with these problems anymore, and there is an urgent need for us to tackle these problems. This is a clear and present danger to all of us here in the audience and beyond. UN, in order to mitigate these problems, has devised 17 SDGs. And today, I really appreciate the members of the audience to focus on these 3 SDGs. 11, sustainable cities and communities. 12, responsible consumption and production. And 13, climate action. In order to have sustainable, safe, and clean environment, there is an urgent need to tackle these problems in the near future. And in order to attain these goals, what we need is the change. It's not a simple change in our thoughts. It's a change in our thoughts and behaviors. It will not be easy to attain these goals in a short time. And we need more and more people who will stand up for the changes, not relying on other people's decisions or hiding behind them, thinking, it is okay because everyone else is doing it. Young Green was created to bring about this change. We are the student club, Environment Club, established in 2015, and we organize multiple environmental campaigns and green education. And our foremost goal is to increase the climate literacy of the people in our communities. So I think people here have not heard about this term, climate literacy. So I'll just briefly explain about this term. It's an understanding of your influence on the climate, and second, climate's influence on you and society. In order for people to understand their influence and how climate influences them, it would be harder for them to understand if they just see the photos, like this, cliché pictures, like the melting of the polar ice cap. What makes a true difference is whether people just see these photos of seemingly faraway places that they cannot easily relate to, or they actually really participate in even small green activities. The consistent theme of our green campaign is to engage more university students in our green activities. These are the few of our activities we have done in schools. The first activity, the thing I showed you in the opening, is the rainwater remover. We decided to decrease the usage of these unnecessary plastic covers by installing the rainwater removers that students can use in front of library and the student center. And we are planning to increase the supply of these rainwater removers by collaborating and cooperating with the school faculties and the administrators. For our second campaigns, we have our annual sports event called 연고정. And we wanted to add new values to the used and thrown away banners from this sports event, and decided to make an upcycling bag and pouches. And we are planning to give them back to the students next year at the sports event. And for our final campaign, we had a coffee waste diffusers. This time, we did not have the campaigns ourselves, but we organized student volunteers in Yonsei University and educated them about this how to make a coffee waste diffuser with the used coffee waste and a used plastic cup. And we tried to attract more volunteers by telling them to post the photos on Instagram and the other social media. And through these campus campaigns, we wanted to tell them about the environmental problems and how they can act in order to find a sustainable environment. And for our second main activity, we have led the environment education to our middle and high school students. And the goal of this education was to increase and raise the future green leaders who can get education about environmental problems. First, by collaborating with the other universities in Seoul, we have started the education programs geared toward high school and middle school students. And we did not have this education just to teach them about environmental problems by textbooks or books, but we used interactive games and interactive videos so that they can learn about environment more interactively. And at the end of the semester, we have led the Model United Nations Environment Conference so that the students can become the delegates themselves to present their positions and develop deeper understandings about SDGs. And we did not just end our education toward them through the simple lecture. We interacted with the near high school club, Environment Club, and taught them our coffee waste diffuser programs and upcycling programs so that they can do the activities in their own schools. We are university students, but we are also part of the communities. And we know the roles. We know that we have important roles as a community, member of the community. So we wanted to give those people who are in our communities the environment education so that they can learn more about these problems. Regardless of anyone's political ideology or their view of the world, it cannot be denied that the changes, many changes or even revolutions, were led by the students. And it is not a big exaggeration to say that the democratic South Korea we live in right now would not have been possible but for the social participation of the students, by the university students who fought against the oppressive regime. We, as a student club, we are still small, but we want to continue our education and campaign programs to the people in university and our communities so that someday we can change people's thoughts and also lead them towards the same goal, to protect the environment and to live in a sustainable environment. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you very much, Young. Thanks to you, we all understand what climate literacy is and the importance of educating people right from lower levels of education to understand their impact on the environment and the impact that the environment has on them. Thank you very much. Our next presenter is